that was something I hadn't really done before, to have this music and have these songs that I have, and then how do we then visually represent that, create that? That process was so enjoyable. I loved that process. That was so much fun.
Me too. That's the funnest part of creativity, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes it's a little bit more enjoyable than the actual thing you create. It's weird because it's like, it goes back to that flow state you talked about. It's part of the flow. The part of the flow is understanding, okay, we're at this stage of the journey. It requires this to get over this hurdle or to get it out to this audience. And you've got to find a way to make it work. So
that's it.
When someone comes in who's just as passionate as you are at what they do and it fits, it's special, bro. It's special. It really is. And like, what's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the After You cast. Now we are back officially, and this is the first episode of season 4. So welcome back for returning viewers who have been watching the content for the last few years now, and welcome to newcomers who's their first time getting a chance to check out the content. We're sat down here today with a very special guest from my hometown. I'm always passionate about the hometown episodes, you know what I'm saying? So without further ado, please introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, thanks Theo. So my name's RJ, up and coming artist from Slough. Like Theo said, I think it's great to be here, doing stuff in Slough, you know what I'm saying? Showing the creative side, because it gets a bad rep sometimes, but I feel like there's a lot of great things going on here. So I'm glad to be here, glad to be a part of it. Thanks for having me here. Season 4, episode 1.
My brother. Yeah, listen, I told you, I really get excited about these episodes when I say hometown, because you really get to see not just where you come from, but also get to see where we could be going to, you know what I mean? And like you just mentioned a minute ago, like Slough does unfortunately have a bit of a bad rep. People just like to clown on it a little bit. It's unfortunate, but it is a reality, and it's something we've got to deal with, and it's something we have to overcome. And that's what I've always tried to focus on doing. So it's a pleasure to sit down with you, man, who has that same kind of love and passion for the town. You can feel it. You can, in our conversations and stuff. So it's a pleasure to have you come down and sit down and have a conversation, man. So yeah,
appreciate that.
So before we jump into all the exciting stuff, I just want a couple of announcements of some things that have changed since season 3. There's been a lot, but let's get into the most important ones. First of all, big shout out to Plus X Innovation for providing this lovely space that we're in, and for the ongoing relationship that we're starting to foster. It's a really good one, especially for young creatives. If you're local to the Slough area and you're looking for companies or businesses that will support you, will work with you, Plus X is definitely they're really championing that, But let's jump straight into the conversation, because time is valuable, and I really want to hear a little bit more. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back in time for the people and just get them to break down a little bit about who RJ actually is, and then what you actually do and a bit of your process. So take us back a little bit, bro. What's it been like for you growing up in Slough?
Yeah, man. So growing up in Slough, obviously I was here, born here, went to school here. The only time I moved out was when I went uni. So that was the first time I moved out of Slough. But then as soon as uni was done, I moved straight back. Been here. I love Slough, We're talking about the bad rep earlier. I don't get it, man.
I love it. I love Slough, man. I absolutely love Slough. And anyone who knows me knows I love Slough. So whenever I hear people kind of speak down on it a bit, I was like, I've got something to say.
I've got
something to say.
But you get it. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Where'd you go to school?
Herschel.
My guy.
Where'd you go to school?
Herschel. What's beautiful is natural is the best way, and organic. Do you know what I'm saying? We didn't even know that we both went to the same school. I got, long story short, I got a connection with RJ through a friend of mine. It was just like, I've got somebody really be good for the platform. He's really creative, does positive stuff. I was like, oh yeah. Well, next thing I know, it was obviously this gentleman right here, and find out that he was went to the same school.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And there's a bunch of Herschel people from my age group that will still watch and really show love to the platform. That I'm my age group and stuff. So shout out to you guys if you're watching. Shout out to my Herschel people and Slough in general, man. We're here. So so moved away.
Went to uni.
Went to uni, and then kind of what was the transition and step from there? Because I know it's different for everyone, isn't it?
So I don't know if you remember, but there used to be talent shows and things like that at Herschel.
I remember.
Yeah. And I remember I used to sit there and I used to watch the talent show, and it got a little bit samey, man. It was singing, dancing, and I was just like, I want to see something different. I want to see something that I would want to watch. You get me? And then I was like, what do I want to watch? I'm like, you know what? It'd be cool, it'd be funny, man.
Yeah.
See a rap battle. You know what
Ah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but I used to do rap battles back then. Like,
Yeah.
just rap
I
battling
vaguely
people.
do, you know. I'm actually trying, because
you're a bit older than me. I think you might have left.
Yeah, I'm about 4 years older than you, so
Yeah.
you would have been coming into things as I was getting ready to, you know, GCSEs and
Yeah,
get out of
yeah.
there. So yeah, it was definitely that transitional time, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I do remember the talent shows massively, man. Like 12 Days of Christmas, like
That was
singing that,
crazy.
because remember.
5 gold rings and.
Oh, listen. Anyone from Herschel knows what we're talking about. The 12 Days of Christmas is a special one. When that hits off on the piano and
Mr. Pig used to get in, bro.
he was too much, Mr. Pigott.
Shout out Mr. Pigott.
Shout out to Mr. Pigott. Yeah, so as I said, like one thing that I've noticed in the Slough area is that if you are creative and you do the work tangibly, and you know, we tend to find each other at some point, whether it's through a connection, a mutual person, or anything like that. When you're doing that work, you tend to gravitate and find those people and kind of come back around to it. So, like, talk to us about the music. How did that become?
Yeah. So, like, obviously, writing lyrics for battles, they're all pre-written. They weren't like freestyle battles, but it was like
That's fine. Yeah.
had to be curated because it needed to be a certain level of acceptable for.
Of course. Yeah.
teachers
Imagine freestyling and then you start dropping in some certain bits of language and they're like, mad. Excuse me?
The teachers used to make me submit my lyrics early. Bro, they were like, we need to review this. We need to review
Imagine
this.
submitting your lyrics.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I love it.
So they reviewed it and they'd be like, you need to remove this, you need to remove this, you need to remove this. And I'll be like, cool. So I'd write a new one, I'll give it to this is what I'm going to do. Then when it comes to doing the show, I'll just do the other one. They must have hated me, man.
Yeah, they definitely did. They definitely, they couldn't wait for you to get out of it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was there, I was just doing rap battles. It was like a fun thing I used to do. I was like, I enjoy rap music. I enjoy that kind of the game, like the lyrics and the beats and how do you put that stuff together and how do you engage the audience? How do I write something that's someone wants to listen to or someone will resonate with or someone thinks is funny or whatever.
Of course.
But it was all very casual. Do you know what I'm saying? It was just for that space, just for there. Then I went to uni. I kind of moved away a little bit from the music.
Yeah.
Kind of left it. You know, I did languages, so I went abroad for a bit.
Nice.
I was in Spain and Portugal for a while. Then I came back to the UK and got into the corporate world. You know, after you graduate, you get into a job.
Oh yeah.
And I just that lifestyle was just
hated it.
Hated it, man.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling great.
Yeah,
I wasn't feeling great. So I went to therapy. I've been in therapy for a long time now, maybe like 5-6 years or something.
That's positive, man. That's positive.
Yeah, man, it's great. It's a great thing. There's some stigma around therapy as well, but I would encourage anyone to get it.
100%. Me too. Me too. I think that in any way that you can relieve bits of pressure or tension that you're dealing with, or speak with people. Sometimes it's, you know, what I would say, a lot of people have an adverse thought towards therapy. What I'd say is go find people who are like-minded, who are better than you, and speak to them. The best people sometimes I find are good therapists are also mentors.
What do you mean that better than you?
So when I say better, more accomplished in your career path. So if you look at your music, if you look at art or whatever, you look at somebody you think, wow, their work is something I'd like to emulate. Maybe sometimes there'd be a good direct connection because what you're getting is you're getting information from someone who's walked the path already. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That's
so
invaluable.
It's not. I'm not to say replace a therapist. I'm saying to sometimes you feel more comfortable speaking with somebody who knows what you're talking about.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Because there's nuances of the things that you're trying to do that you can only understand if you're in it. You know
exactly. So it's like trying to tell somebody who doesn't understand that, you know, it's kind of difficult.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of difficult. So that's that point on that. But yeah.
So yeah, when I was in therapy, like one of the things my therapist was saying was try writing. Just try writing. I don't think she knew at the time, but you know that I used to write lyrics, or that lyrics were kind of just something that I was kind of into, but I kind of left it. Yeah. And then I was at a really low stage. Like I'm not gonna lie, like I was like suicidal at one point, and I was like, something ain't right. This is initially what made me want to go. Yeah. Right. So that was the initial catalyst that made me get there. But once you get there, I think it's such a great space because then, like I said, my therapist encouraged me to start writing, and from there, when I start writing, it turned into lyrics. Just because that's just how my mind works. Like you know, so it just turned into lyrics, and then from there, I'd write songs about, or like maybe just a verse, or maybe a like just bars,
life
just
or whatever's going on.
Yeah, just like Word documents, just full of
different
whatever.
Yeah,
just whatever, and then.
Like a word dump type of thing.
Exactly, just dump everything on there, man. Everything on there. However I'm feeling, just free flow. Doesn't matter, like, because it's for me. It's not for
it's not for an audience. Yeah, I get
just for me to understand it. And in doing that, I then was able to gain some objectivity and some distance from that. You know what I'm saying? Because once you see it on a page, it's words. And you're like, oh, that's that's what's going on.
Yeah.
And especially like for other artists as well. I don't know, when you're expressing something creative, sometimes you don't even know what you're doing. You just feel it.
Yeah.
You're just in the feeling, right?
Yeah, in the flow of things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then once you're in that flow, you let it flow, and then you look at the lyrics, and then you take that step back, and you're like, damn, like, that's crazy. Like that. That then helped me to understand things and then work through them. Then I was able to go back to therapy and be like, hey, this was going on. Let's work through this. Then I've got more content. All right. Do you get me? Like, and it just.
It's amazing. Yeah. So it's quite an organic way of creation in a way.
For sure,
because,
man.
You know, it goes back to like the tangible. I always say this when a lot of people I speak to who are asking for advice on anything creative or even just want, you know, some bits of knowledge. I always say that practice is always the best. You know, and I take that from my footballing days. In order to get to something, you always talk about the 10,000 hours, right?
Yeah.
And
the
training,
mastery,
the mastery. And trust me, like there is something within the overall practice and the repetition of things. And it can be a bit boring, a bit monotonous sometimes. But, you know, when you fast forward and you get that hindsight, you're able to sit there and say, wow, you know what? Damn, I'm so glad I did those 4 or 5 years of grafting. It didn't necessarily have like a target. At first, I didn't even know what I was doing, just like you dumping the words on the page. And then all of a sudden now you're like, whoa, okay, there's something here. There's good structure here, you know? So it's great to hear that you was able to, one, overcome, and I'm very glad that you're still here with us, brother, and you know, overcome those thoughts and turn it into something that's creative and powerful, you know? So yeah, tell us more about that transitional period, like going through those things, obviously ironing it out in therapy to how you are here now.
Okay, let me just take a step back quickly.
That's fine, go ahead.
Tell you about the beats, selection and things. So how the process works of writing is, for me anyway, I'm sure it's different for other artists and things, but for me it's like, I'll listen to beats, I'll go on YouTube, wherever, listen to hundreds of beats, until I find one that sounds like what I'm feeling. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does, 100%. 100%. It's 'cause, like you said, it's about being in that flow state.
Exactly.
It's kind of the same thing as seeing colours and the way companies use colours. Brands are fantastic at that. That, you know, like the reason why you see, you know, the McDonald's,
the red
symbol,
and the yellow,
the red and the yellow, those bright, appealing primary colours, and then you know what I'm saying? No, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's it.
Go ahead.
So I'd find a beat that matches how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And then from there, I just put that beat on loop, and then I just write.
Okay.
And then I just write. And from there, I feel like that, because I had that initial connection with that instrumental, that then kind of evoked that feeling, and then I was able to structure a song out of it, depending on how the instrumental sounded. And then I'd have this piece of work, and some of it was pretty good, so I'm like, let me just keep doing this. And then eventually I had quite a body of work, and I was able to, you know, select it and put it into an album. Actually writing these songs, this is crazy. I'm trying to think back to all this, because it's still such a long time ago now, because I released the first album in 2020.
Okay, wow.
We're in 2024 now, so it's 4 years ago.
Yeah, and 2020 don't even seem like 4 years away.
Do you know what I'm saying?
That's crazy. COVID really done a madness on us. It really got us fast forward in time, and you know, it's mad. 2024, crazy. But 2020.
Yeah, so 2020. So then I had these songs, but I didn't know how to record. I didn't know how to do this. I didn't know how to do this. So I found a studio engineer. I worked with him.
Nice.
That was a great experience. But like you said, working with someone who has that skill set.
Yeah.
Because I was working with him. I don't think necessarily he was a hip hop producer, but he was definitely a music producer. So he knew what he was doing. And just being in that room, seeing him do things, I'm like, you should pick things up. You know what I'm saying? You're learning, and I'm like, oh, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. So I've done that experience. I thought it was a great experience, great fun, really invaluable, really. And then I made the album. Then I released it.
Yeah.
I didn't really do any promo though or anything, because I kind of
He was just kind of in the project. He wasn't really thinking outside of it and all the other extrinsic. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. It's like when you're starting out as a creative, you kind of really just do the creative thing that you're good at or you're passionate about. Then over time is when you start to figure out and say, cool, I need this now to make it better. I need that to make it, you know, amplified and make the message spread further. You know what I mean? So
definitely.
Yeah. And music is unique in that category, isn't it? It's one of the weirdest art forms where everything else requires so much technical dexterity and skill and placement, and then music is more like this free-flowing body of just like, you know, art, of just kind of conversation.
Definitely, I think there is definitely a technical element to it as well.
Yeah.
Like in terms of the, you know, when you create the instrumentals, and there's like certain things you do in music, certain keys you can use, and certain sounds.
Well, see, you make a great point, and I mean that's probably a key distinction for a lot of the people. Like, a lot of people see musicians and they assume they always create the music. But as we know, you don't necessarily have to do each stage.
No.
You don't have to worry about making the beats and then perform the song and then like, you know, where it's coming from. You can literally find people, match up and partner, but I'm sure it's a lot deeper when you are sitting there creating those beats and you're creating a body of music. Like, so what's that process like for you?
I mean, the beats I create, I don't really use for myself.
Nice.
Or the beats that I make is just, I just kind of make beats. But the reason why I don't use them is because there's just producers out there that are just so much better. Do you know what I'm saying? Like objectively, I'm listening to these instrumentals and these are like cinematic works of art. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Especially like
layering.
Exactly. Some of the stuff I've got in the second album is it's not song, it's not verse, chorus. It's not like that, man.
Yeah.
It's like some verse one and then the beat like completely just evolves. There's like orchestral elements. There's like drums and strings and everything.
I like that.
It's insane. When I heard these beats first time, blew my mind. I'm like, this is insane. This sounds like a movie.
Yeah.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's so many emotions I'm going through as I'm listening to this 5-minute piece of work. How I felt at the beginning is not how I feel at the end. And I've been through a journey just hearing it. So as soon as I felt that on that beat, I'm like, this is what I need to do. Because this is going to challenge me to create something. Because how can I now create lyrics that match that feeling?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, facts, 100%. I see where you're coming from, and I mean, yeah, for me as a visual artist, you know, the photography and the video side of things, it's kind of the same. Like I'd say, my creative process begins with words. Yeah. Because I'm a visual thinker, so I see in pictures. So I'll see things and I'll memorize things from pictures. But in order to create the photography and the artwork that I do, it's actually more of a retractive process. So what I do is I put out a whole map and an idea of words and ideas, almost just like on a big brainstorm pad. Then from there, now I'll associate those things based on what I'm trying to achieve. So let's say I've got somebody like yourself who's a musician. I won't just take the picture that looks good. I'm gonna now analyze, okay, what's your style of music? What's your general mood, emotiveness? Like, what kind of character do you portray? And then try to find things that partner and match with that. Did you say it's something similar like that with music, or is it different?
I think definitely. I mean, when I'm finding these instrumentals or things that I'm trying to write to, it's almost like you could just get a standard. Like I could just get a standard instrumental. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I could just get like a party beat or whatever. Yeah. You know, a club beat. Yeah. Club beat, easy hook, couple verses.
Little house beat,
couple punchlines in there. Yeah. It's cool. Like things designed to go viral, basically. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I could write a song that's designed to go viral. I could do that. Yeah. But for me, it's like the artistry's not there. I'm not expressing anything. Do you get me?
100%.
And like you said, it's like you want to be thinking about more than just the good shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're like, what am I? What else is there?
What am I saying?
Because you're a photographer, cool. Yeah. That's it. But there's so much more to it than that.
Oh yeah.
Do you get me?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not just the picture. It's like it's not just the music. There's so much more behind it. Like all the emotions and everything and the things that go into it and
it's true. There's a lot to digest. There's a lot to unpack as well, isn't there? One thing I've noticed as well, particularly with, I hate the word urban. I really do. It's just like it throws a big group of us into one pot, and it's like it's so unique because you can have like the whole indie side of things, and then you've got like the pop rocky kind of style. You've got the street like grime, trap, drill vibe. So like there's so much variety for us to be thrown into this urban category. But what I would say is that when you deal with more, let's call it eclectic artists who like have a more holistic approach to the sounds and the music and piece things together. I don't know about your experience, but it tends to be that they're more comfortable being more underground. One thing I revere and I love, like a lot of the artists I listen to, they're not necessarily got massive platforms, but the music is just like, well, to me anyway, is like, it's spiritual, it's emotional, it makes sense, it connects. And again, I think that's something that musicians have like a special skill to just tap into a specific type of person or an archetype and then just relate to them, you know what I mean? So like, I really commend that with musicians, and I'm sure you could obviously see that as well. Like, talk to us a little bit about some of your inspirations. Where some of your inspirations for music come from?
My inspiration. So first, I'd say like first and foremost, like when I decided to create this album, the first album, and I was like, why am I doing this? It was like, because if these songs that I create help me to understand myself better, hopefully, if someone else hears it and they're going through something similar, it might be able to help them. So that is the first reason why I decided to kind of put my music out there. Yeah. And for me, like, I remember being like mad depressed, like when I was like 16, 17 in school, secondary school, and listening to Kid Cudi for the first time.
Yeah. Kid Cudi was very powerful, wasn't he?
Oh, he's just saying things that I'm like, I didn't know other people felt this, but I heard it on the song, and I'm like, oh, I'm not alone in this. Someone else feels like this. Someone else understands me.
Yep.
Therefore, I feel a bit better about having to deal with it.
Yeah.
Because I know it's not just me. It's not just something that's wrong with me. It's just
you feel like you're part of a group.
100%.
Yeah. Isolation, being on an island is the worst thing I think can happen to an artist. Some of the greatest artists in the world have been those individuals you talk about. They become their own island because they're either so good at what they do, or they're so introverted and they're not able to kind of like open-mindedly share with others. So I love collaborative artists, people that like, it kind of requires you to connect with other people before you can get it out there. Right. Because it forces you to have to really pay attention to your craft and your process. So like, as I said, like, music seems like a field that you definitely need a bunch of people, unless you're willing to do it all, make the beats, write the music, perform the song, find the, production. So, each step, because obviously you've taken a kind of like a responsibility of one of those things, or, all of them at some point. What was the biggest challenge when you're making the music for you personally?
The biggest challenge for me making the music is if I'm honest, it's the promotion side of things, to be honest.
Okay.
That's not something I'm comfortable with, like the marketing side of things. I'm not very...
Is it a personality thing or a skill thing? Yeah, I was going to say.
Personality
I was just about to say, a lot of people who deal with promotion, it tends to be because they feel like it's a bit disingenuous.
Yeah, that's it, man.
They feel like, I know it's a very common thread within artists, which is, I don't want to water down what I've built here. I don't want to feel like I'm doing it a discredit because this is so passionate, so real. If I come out now and I'm like, yeah, and it's $6.99 and I need it's just like, yeah, man, I love this project. It's about my mum and about my family and stuff, and it's $20.99 if you could just hit that subscription.
Plus, I'm like, if I'm honest, like, how many people are really gonna... I feel like the music's there, right? The music's there, but there's people who I feel like will resonate with it and it will help them, and that's great. But there's also a bunch of people who it won't resonate with. And if I'm out here pushing it, like, people gonna be seeing it. I'm like,
I know.
How do I reach the right audience? It's just, and I don't think I'd say it's something that I'm struggling with right now. But if you'd asked me previously, something I'd be struggling with was maybe the mixing stage or something like that. But you learn things and you overcome, and it's the growth, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But right now what it is the promotion side of things. Because I've got that album, I've got the music, and like I mixed and done most of that stuff myself. So like I'm fairly confident with, like, for now, if you said to me you had a project and you needed a song, I'd go away, I'd come back to you with the song tomorrow. Like, I could do it. I'm very confident in that. But the promotion is just
yeah, it's just like, it's out of your remit. I understand 100%.
It's not my skill set, really.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's a negative thing at all. I think it's just, it requires you to maybe think a little bit more outside the box or be more collaborative for those said things. Because,
definitely, man, definitely.
It turns your art into something different when you collaborate. And I had to kind of come out of my shell personally with that, because I was very much heading down that island route. Yeah. I was just like, oh, no one could do it like this. No one facilitates the work, does it on time. These people don't respond back on time to me. I'm just going to do it myself. I'm going to learn how to do this. And you can get accomplished to a certain level, and then you meet that person who's excels in it. And then you're just like, oh, damn, yeah. Oh.
Collaboration's a great thing, man. Collaboration's a great thing. Like working with you, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've done some shoots, some content shoots.
Yeah, we got some fire coming for you.
It's great.
We got some fire coming for you. I'm gonna let you know now. There's some fire coming.
Yeah, there's some fire coming. But that was something I hadn't really done before. To have this content that I'm here, and then, to have this music and have these songs that I have, and then how do we then visually represent that, create that? That process was so enjoyable. I loved that process. That was so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. That's the funnest part of creativity, isn't it? Yeah. It's like, sometimes it's a little bit more enjoyable than the actual thing you create. It's weird because it's like, it goes back to that flow state you talked about. It's part of the flow. The part of the flow is understanding, okay, we're at this stage of the journey. It requires this to get over this hurdle or to get it out to this audience. And you've got to find a way to make it work. So
that's it.
When someone comes in who's just as passionate as you are at what they do and it fits, it's special, bro. It's special. It really is. And like, I like to follow signs. And I think this point of my life, the last year or so, I've really started to find those individuals. And I think it's partly just because I've been willing to take a bet on myself and to basically comfortable to tell people this is what I do and not be afraid of it.
Yeah.
Because the moment that you hone in on it and you tell people, no, it's cool. This is what I do. That's what I'm known for. And I'm very good at it. Weirdly enough, suddenly people start contacting you. Suddenly people start responding to messages and you're like, oh, okay.
Was there like a period of time where you were like uncomfortable with that?
Yes. Yeah, for a long time. And you know why? Because I was very much the introverted kind of character. I was very quiet. So when people see me like this, they're kind of like, wow, this is a different experience of you. I'm used to, fears behind the scenes.
So were you more like uncomfortable with saying, this is what I can offer, this is what I'm good at?
Yeah, but because I was overthinking, other people can do better things than me. If I say I'm this good, people are going to be like, well, are you really? And then the second guessing stuff happens, right? But then you realize that there's a big old world out here and we're all at different phases of that journey. So wherever stage that you're at, you just need to find people who understand that and they're willing to just say, you know what, I can help you get here and help you improve that part. Not constant critique. Critique is good. But I think for artists, too much critique can really drive them crazy because then they sit there and they double question and they're second guessing everything and you're just kind of like, no, it's not a blind faith, just run out and do anything. It's a calculated approach, but then you surround yourself with like-minded people who do, got a similar mindset. It turns projects into new things and, people will just gravitate to that, bro. So
I think it's interesting that you said that once you became confident in expressing that, then people were drawn to you in that way.
Yes.
That's crazy.
It is crazy to me, isn't it?
How that works is mad.
It's almost like it goes back to that opposites attract thing, doesn't it? It's like the more you try to sell something, the more it doesn't work. Getting back to the music, so we segued a little bit there, but talk to us about the project, man.
So the album's called Liminality. So it follows on from the first project. So the first album was called Disidentification. Nice. I was going to say obviously, but I don't think it is obvious.
Yeah, exactly. Break that one down a bit. Disidentification,
yeah. So disidentification. I don't know if it's an actual word. I don't think it is an actual word.
No, I don't think it is. No. But I understand. I know exactly what you're meaning.
But now if you Google it, because it's not a real word, guess what's coming up? What? The album's coming up.
Oh, yeah. Hashtag. You meant to tick that hashtag. Yeah, go ahead.
So what the album was about, obviously I was looking at different aspects of the self really, and what I tried to convey in that story is you're conditioned by the world, right? There's conditioning that you receive.
Very true.
When you're in this world from various institutions, and those can be like, it could be family, it could be friends, could be work, could be school, could be religion, could be whatever.
Yeah.
But all of these things sometimes give you or tell you things or help you shape. I want to be careful about the words here because I don't want to offend anyone, but you know what I'm saying? It's like these institutions can sometimes form beliefs in you that aren't your own beliefs.
Yeah,
right?
Agreed.
And then because of that conditioning, you may then make choices, lifestyle decisions that aren't yours really.
Yeah.
That aren't aligned with you and your purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In my experience, that was what it was, and that when I looked at it, really, that was what it was. It was I was doing things that weren't for me. I was like living a life that wasn't authentic to myself. It wasn't true to me.
Yeah.
So with this album, the first one, it was more like moving away from that conditioning, but disidentifying with the conditioning of the world in order to find oneself, right? So that's what the first album was about.
I like that.
So it's called Disidentification. It was about that process. It's just moving away from that space. But then once you move away from that space, where are you left?
Yeah.
That's the question, right?
Yeah, a bit more kind of like in limbo a little bit. And, yeah.
Exactly. It leaves you in that, what I call a liminal space. And that's why this is why the album's called Liminality. And I think it's a psychological term, so it's used in psychology, I think, in those circles. But it refers to the feeling of psychological disorientation when you are going through a transformation or a rite of passage of something. And you've moved away from the previous state, but you haven't quite achieved the next state. So you're in the middle space.
So you're in a cocoon. You're the caterpillar in the cocoon who's about to come out.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, it's like the middle,
what's going on in the cocoon.
You don't know, breaking down, right?
Breaking down. Yeah, disidentification.
Disidentify with the caterpillar because you need to come out as a butterfly. You can't do the same thing. So you got to.
And the caterpillar don't even know about thinking about flying.
Do you get me?
That it was chunky and slow.
But as soon as it comes out, first thing is thinking I'm flying.
I'm out of here.
Where'd that come from? Mad.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. No, that's why I think butterflies are used so much as a reference.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes a lot of sense when you know the metamorphosis.
Yeah. The growth, right? It's all about the growth, the breakdown, so that you
Yeah.
can come back stronger. But it's that period of like quite introspection, almost. You step back and you step back into that space where it's like it's kind of unknown.
Yeah.
Where you have to step into the unknown.
Yeah.
And that, you know, it's a theme touched on throughout the album. But how does it feel to then be in that space when you almost don't have an identity in that space?
To a degree, yeah. To a degree.
Because if you've moved away from that and you don't have a new one, you're like kind of lost in that period, and it's like just trying to figure stuff out there and trying to understand what it means. And once you've moved away from you know, conditioning, then what are you moving towards?
Yeah.
You know, if someone then asks you, well,
what's your thoughts and where do you stand on this? Yeah, and you're just
Exactly.
kind of like, yeah, well, I'm not essentially sure where I stand because, you know, you're in that transitional phase. Yeah, I don't think there's anything. I think that's something really key to hone in on, like the fact, one, that you obviously have a story that you're trying to tell, because I think a lot of times with artists, they get lost creating the art, but there's nothing behind it. It's an empty vessel. You forget art is us. Art is creation. Creation is one of our greatest gifts and our greatest tools.
Art is really just an attempt to understand things going on around you, I think. In my opinion, anyway. For me, anyway, for music.
Yeah, I like that.
The art is
a good explanation.
Yeah, it's just an attempt to understand the world and the things going on around you. But yeah, I think, yeah, like you said, it's in that liminal space, it's really important to have that breakdown period and that quiet period. And that's really what the album's about. Like, because I'm not there yet. I'm not a millionaire yet. I ain't done my world tour yet. It's coming soon.
Yeah.
But that'll
it's
be
coming very soon, my
very
friend.
soon, very soon.
Yeah,
But
hear that.
the liminal period that I feel like I'm in now is like, or maybe that I'm slightly coming out of now, because I feel like that I wrote this album during that gap between 2020 and 2024. So
So now you're starting to, like, you know, come out, not on the other side of it, but you're just trying to, maybe you're finding a bit of a conclusion to some of the answers you were looking for.
I think one thing that I do notice is that I'm way more comfortable, you know, announcing myself as an artist. Like you were saying earlier, like I might feel like now, like I've been through that period of, I don't know if I'm good enough to do this, but like working with the engineer for the first one and then the second one, kind of just doing it myself. Just getting the beats from the producers and then kind of just mixing it down and recording it, editing, all that stuff myself. That definitely, there's a lot of learning in there, man. There's a lot of stuff that you learn, not only about yourself and your ability to do things you never thought you could do. Because one day, like, I had no idea how to do it. Next day, obviously it's not
it's not that
the
simple.
day, but
of course,
long period of time, let's say one,
Understood.
and then a year later I look back and I'm like, now I know exactly how to do all of this. It's crazy.
It changes your mind.
Yeah, and then you get that confidence, you get that growth, and now I feel like maybe I haven't reached the next stage yet, but I'm definitely on my way there. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying?
It's a beautiful thing, bro. Honestly, it's a beautiful thing to find through. And I think there's something in what you said earlier about the whole breaking down stage and the whole falling into yourself. Because I think it's very important for just people. Forget about art and creativity for a moment. Let's just talk about people. And as you're growing, I think there's something in breaking down before you build up. And again, I take it back. I always use references from football because it's taught me everything I need to know about life. Now that I fast forward, I think back to all the little training sessions and little times I was just outside with my ball doing kick-ups, just dribbling around, just like kicking it off of a little bit of a wall and a curb, and just nothing that has a purpose. That is where I learned the most, because those are the times where you're breaking down, as you talk about. You're breaking down concepts of things that, you know, it has no real structure to it. It's not, we're not, every day is a game, every day is training, every day is like doing something. Sometimes it's just the pure passion and joy of being able to practice what you've, you know, learned, what you've acquired. So you pick up these skills and then it's about the excitement of, well, I've got this new skill and I want to go and practice on it now. And the honing in, the drumming in over it over years, it becomes like second nature. So I think in music and in art, I think that you've got that kind of similarity where, you know, over a period of time, like you said, you'd had to do certain things yourself. So now you're able to see, all right, cool, I have a different appreciation of that bit. I may not be great at it, but if I hadn't even have tried it, maybe I'd still be sitting here a bit ignorant to, I need to get better at that, or I need somebody who can help me with that.
Or maybe I'd just not be as confident in coming to this podcast and saying, hey, I'm an artist, I've got this coming up. But, you know, you go through that and you learn. And I think, again, like the same principle applies for why I was writing this. Like, it's an attempt to understand things that were going on. and moving away from that first album and being in the second space, trying to understand. Now I've done that. Now I've done an album. I've released it. Where does that leave me? Because my life didn't change. My life didn't change. I released the album. Everything's exactly the same next day. Wake up next day. I'm thinking, cool. I released an album. Nothing. Everything's the same.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so like, now I'm in the second album, and it's like that process is the same. Like, I'm just trying to understand things and trying to understand what does it mean. What does it mean to call myself an artist? Like, for me to go out there and be like, yo, I'm an artist. I'm a rapper. I'm this. I'm that.
Yeah.
Like, you always get that critical voice, if you will, in your head. Why
Second voice.
have it? Who's like, well, who are you to call yourself an artist?
Yeah,
who
yeah,
you say you're a rapper? Are you a rapper? Really?
Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are?
Yeah.
And that voice can be so critical and it's so harsh, especially. There's one track, especially Naive, which there's 2 verses. It plays with perspective. The first one is the perspective of that voice. The second one's my response to that. It's like that dialogue. Do you know what I'm saying? That dialogue is really important, I think. Within the self, and that's not a I'm gonna sit there and talk to myself. That's not what that is. It's like reflection, internal reflection, meditation, going inward,
like you said,
therapy, maybe introspection. Whatever works for you. It could be writing, could be whatever. It could be dance. You get me? Like whatever it is, however you want to express that or express whatever's going on, do it. And I think that's really important because if you don't have that dialogue and you don't look at these things will run.
Yeah, run amok.
Run
in your head.
you. They'll control you almost.
Yeah, to a degree, 100%.
Powerful. And
it goes back to, sorry to cut you, brother. It reminds me of going back to the whole idea of like the conditioning you mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah.
It's like that conditioning, I think, is it kind of irons out creativity.
For real. I think that
I
voice
don't think it's
is
meant
a
to be creative.
To that, yeah.
It's meant to be like a conforming mindset of like, think about structure. For things to work, you can't have like missing links. Like for this building to operate.
Yep.
If we decided to say, it'd be really creative if we just took the roof off.
Yeah, mad.
You
as soon as it rains, it's a problem.
Oh, stress. That building coming down in about a year and a half because, flood damages, leaks, things start falling apart.
Yeah.
There's certain things, unfortunately, that require core structure and black and white answers. But the people who built the building, they were very creative. The designers, the furniture designers, the interior designers, the lighting designers, the engineers.
It's a really cool building. Some of the stuff is like...
You can imagine, imagine the thought. When I just look around, there's some spaces, the fact that they've left like a lot of the roofs exposed so you can see the inner workings of the architecture, which is, it's more like a brutalist style of architecture, which is more modern. And I really like it because it's like pulling the veil back. Do you know what I mean? And it's like...
Yeah, it gives it that authentic, that raw
feel. It's just like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
We're not going to hide simple things. We'll make them look good. We'll amplify them. And I think art can be done in that way as well too. And I think meeting the right people, connecting, people like yourself, I've had a chance to meet up with recently, it's a mindset thing, brother. It's a mindset thing. And you gravitate to the type of people who understand you, they speak your language. And this is why I'm so passionate about where we come from. Because you don't really hear a lot of these messages come from Slough.
Yeah.
It's not a creative place. History is in the trading estate for anybody that knows. What I wanted to ask you specifically is, obviously we talked a little bit about the album, musical inspirations and stuff. Like, what was the biggest challenge you found? Because I know a lot of musicians out there trying to get started and they don't necessarily always have the answers, but what would you say one of the challenges to either avoid or overcome was for you?
I would say...
I know you mentioned promotion.
That's kind of like what I'm going through now, but you're talking about like during the process.
Just as an artist and musician.
It's a great question. I think for me personally, the way I write songs is like I'm feeling something. I've heard a beat now and it matches. Now I'm able to create this. That happens, I create X amount of songs. Now it's like, how do I create like a narrative or something that makes sense that that will actually help someone? Do you get me? Because some of this stuff is dark, man. This is dark stuff. Like we spoke about stuff I've been through. It's not nice stuff, but
I know, bro.
It's like, if I'm putting that on an album, why am I doing that? Do you know? I'm not trying to trigger people for no reason. I'm not doing that for no reason. I don't want anyone to feel worse for this, you get me?
Nah, of course.
But I need to be very mindful, very careful of why I'm doing this. Why is this song here? Where does it come in the context? And I'll tell you, the first song's called Shadows, and it's about, being in that dark space. One of the lines in there is, I've been living in the dark so long, it's starting now to feel like home. And that's how it felt for a long time. Just living in the dark, where it's like, you feel low, you feel depressed, but it doesn't feel unusual. Yeah. Almost feels normal. Yeah. To the point where I don't even just here. Like just someone how you, whatever, man. Yeah. But really not great.
Yeah.
But to me,
Yeah, because you don't want to offload things. That's another dangerous thing I think about having problems or issues, is that you bottle them because you don't want to impose that on someone else. You want it to be kind of like focused and be helpful, and it's not always helpful. Like you said, you've got a lot of dark content, a lot of things that are like can be perceived as negative. But then if we just sit here talking about all of the good stuff, is that also genuine?
Oh, exactly. There's the duality of existence, which is I touch upon in the first album, but carry that theme on to the second one. There's pros and there's not pros and cons. There's like beauty in the world, and there's also
there's darkness, there's evil,
horrible, evil stuff in the world.
We know what's going on right now in the world. We
Do you know what I'm saying?
Get into it.
Like, it's crazy. But I feel like the human experience in life encompasses all of those things.
Yeah.
I don't want to say you need the darkness or you need those bad times, but for me personally, going through that stuff, I learned a lot about myself. And then I'm able to come out and I wouldn't say I wish this upon anyone else, but I wouldn't change it for myself. I wouldn't say I don't want that to happen to me. If I could change it, I'd want to go through the same stuff. Because it got me to where I am today.
That's powerful.
But like I was saying, like there's some dark stuff in there, and I'm like, the challenge I had was, how do I then actually do that? So we start off in the dark, and then I'm like, where do I want to end it? What's chapter 9 going to be? I don't know when this podcast is coming out. I might be spoiling all my.
If you want me to take anywhere, just let me know. We'll get rid of that. Don't worry.
It's cool. But the last one's called Open Up.
Okay.
And that's like, you know, there's a line in there, we've got to open up to love, and that's what it's about, man. Just open yourself up to love.
That's
to move
powerful.
out of the darkness, right?
I think that's a real strength, because a lot of people will consider love as weakness nowadays. I think a lot of people think, hey, you're too nice, you're too kind, you're too giving, you're too sharing. But how does the world move forward? How do buildings like this get built? How does artwork like yours get created? Collaboration and people willing to do something that they don't have to, but they do, and it makes things better. I think that's what art also encompasses as well, right?
For sure, man.
So, before we wrap up this beautiful conversation with yourself, because this is a consistent theme I do on the podcast, it's called Words of Wisdom. And I just started this off randomly, like in season 2, and I didn't think I would continue it, but here we are, season 4. And pretty much almost every person I've got, I need to put together a reel, actually, of all of the words of wisdom so people can see it. I'm going to do that. But yeah, I just wanted to get some words of wisdom from yourself, from somebody who's actually, you know, walked in your shoes, and, you know, just words of wisdom for the next younger version of yourself, starting in year 7 at Herschel and wants to do music someday. What would you say to that young person?
That's crazy. I would never even think that music, if year 7 Ryan, I would never think, oh, one day I want to be a musician full time. It's just not in my, I didn't think there's many people who look like me who's doing this. Do you get me? I'm like, this isn't something that's really available to me.
I feel you.
So in terms of my words of wisdom, it would just be for whoever you are, whatever you're doing, man. There's gonna be a path that's laid out for you, right? You can go to school, you can go uni, you can do this, you can get a job, you can do that. And you get married and do all this stuff. Like, follow those check boxes, if you will, and that path. That path is always available to you if you want that. But I think that everyone, no matter who they are, they have something unique that they can do.
True.
Something they do that when they do it, it's like magic. It's just,
and they don't even think about it.
They don't, and that's the thing. Once you do that thing, you know that it's because you don't have to try. But it's like, oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So I'd say, and like I said, when I was in year 7, I didn't know, but I was still writing raps. I just didn't know that was the thing. But it's always, thing is, it's probably something that you've already been doing. It's
and you just don't even realize. Same with me with photography. I always used to take the pictures in the family.
Always.
Oh yeah, Theo, take the camera, little Insta ones.
Do you get me?
So I was just like, that was. And now I think back, and I think I always took all the family photos. I've got all these albums of pictures, all wonky and blurry and all this stuff, and I think, now I'm a photographer.
So I'm like, I'm like, whatever that is, whatever that spark is, follow that. Follow it.
Yeah, man.
It'll take you somewhere interesting. 100% it'll take you. I don't know where it will take you. And, you know, there's no way for you to know where it's going to take you. But I guarantee you it's going to be way more interesting, way more enjoyable, way more aligned with your spirit. You'll feel more alive. You'll feel more joy. You'll meet great people. You have these connections. Your worldview. You have so many more opportunities. If you take that path that was designed for you, that was destined for you. Do you get me? So whatever that is, I don't know, it could be anything. It could be drawing, it could be art, like could be dancing, you know, I don't know, whatever. Whatever it is, man. Anything. Literally anything. But whatever it is, follow that. Do it.
That's amazing. Well, brother, you know, it's been short, sweet, insightful, poignant. you know, all the above. And yeah, it's a pleasure to not only sit down with somebody who's, you know, walked in the similar shoes as myself, going to the same school, and, you know, being in the creative fields and all that stuff. But, you know, it's a beautiful thing I like about creativity. It puts you in the room with people that you wouldn't necessarily always think. It's just about being prepared and providing some type of value in that exchange. It could just be a listening ear. It could be, you know, some advice and some knowledge, or it could be like a tangible skill that you actually have. But, you know, I think it's really powerful when you're able to just, you know, attract those individuals and provide things for them. So, you know, that's very much what we're trying to do here with the platform, and, you know, putting people on. Especially from our hometown, man, because we don't have much of this. We don't have much media promotion. We don't have much platforms. There's no radio here. There's no uni here. They've taken everything. So it's just like, in a way it's bad, but then I look at it, I think, well, now that we're starting to build some momentum again, you can see so many avenues of what's been missing. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Well, we're going to have to build all this stuff back up again. There's a lot of work to do. But
do you know what I'm saying? Let's do it. Let's do that work. Because there's so much creativity here. And we just need a platform. We just need places like this, you know. Just
build it up.
So many opportunities, and like so much great work is happening in Slough. So looking forward to it, man. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Honestly,
well,
bro, it's an absolute blessing. And I'm sure the beautiful people will be able to take away something from this. It will resonate with them 100%. But before we do leave, can you tell the people where they can find you, and, you know, potential links that I'll obviously include in the description for you to find your upcoming project?
Yeah, cool. So so I've got Instagram. Instagram, search me up on Random Selection Guaranteed. That's my Instagram tag.
Nice.
And if you go on there, I'll put the link tree on there, and there'll be links to all the other stuff. There's some YouTube and that, but
I'll put the link tree and stuff in the descriptions of the
perfect, man. That's great. I'll put that in there. That'll be easier.
Yeah,
so they can just click on it and go on it. You ain't got to search it up yourself. Make it easy. Just make sure you go check out the stuff. The album stuff will be dropping on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, every platform that you have. You know, you can find it wherever you listen to your music. Yeah. Stay tuned. Make sure you follow me. Stay up to date, and hopefully you enjoy Liminality.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait, man. I'm sure that people are going to love it, brother. Listen,
thanks again, bro.
For all the beautiful people out here, go check out my guy RJ. Pleasure to sit down with him and hear a little bit about his story. For those of you, as I said before, first time checking out the podcast, you know, got a whole ton of other stuff you can go back and watch. But welcome to season 4, and we have some very exciting things coming in the next few months. Exciting projects. Before I leave, couple of big shout outs, as I said before at the beginning of this. Shout out to Plus X Innovation. Shout out to a recent partnership that I'm working on with SMG, my amazing guys over there that are doing events and doing wicked stuff. So listen, we've got some exciting stuff. It's going to be a hot summer. It's going to be a hot summer. So keep your eyes peeled, and stay positive, stay blessed. And we look forward to seeing you and catching you on the next episode. Until then, peace and love.